Welcome once again to this YouTube channel, and in this video we'll be talking about the ribs. The rib is one of the bones of the thoracic cage, and this rib I'm holding here is the first rib. So I'll just briefly use this rib to describe features you can find in a typical rib. And now, one of the features you will find in a rib is that the rib has two ends. It has posterior end and it has an anterior end. It has a shaft. It has a head. It has a neck. It has a tubercle. So it has two surfaces, but I would explain the surfaces with using another rib. Now, looking at this rib, you will find that one side is concave and the other side is convex. So the part that is convex is actually the outer surface, and the part that is concave is the inner surface. So back to the first rib. So the first rib is actually different from every other rib. If you look at this rib, you'll find that it's not the same as this rib. Now, one thing that makes the first rib different is that the rib is flattened above downwards. It is flattened from up to down, so it's looking flat, while this other rib is looking rounded, as you can see here. So that is one of the features that makes the first rib different from every other rib. Another distinguishing feature is that while other ribs have two articular facets on their head, rib 1 has just one facet for articulation with the first thoracic vertebra. As you can see, this one I'm pointing here. On the head, it has just one facet. The first rib has just one facet. It has an oval facet on the tubercle. I think I made mention of the tubercle in this video. So it has one facet on the tubercle. The other ribs has an angle. It has angle where the tubercle meets with an oblique line, forming the angle of the rib. But in the first rib, the two of them, they are fused together. So this is the angle of this first rib. This part is the angle of the first rib. While other ribs have a costal groove on their inner surface, as you can see here. While other rib has a costal groove, you will find that in the first rib there is no costal groove. So that also makes it different from other ribs, although it has a small groove close to its posterior end, this one, but it is not all throughout the length of the first rib. Another distinguishing factor is that the first rib is short. It is the shortest of all the ribs. It is the shortest. Talking about the first rib, it has a medial border and it has a lateral border. It has a head, it has a rounded neck, and it has a tubercle with one facet. It has a shaft. It has an anterior end that is thicker than the posterior end. It has two surfaces, the superior surface and the inferior surface, or superior and or outer and inner surface. So talking about the attachments to the first rib, you will find that close to the medial border of the first rib, scalenius medius inserts here close to the medial border, and on the medial border, precisely this part, along with the costal cartilage, you find the attachment of Simpson's fascia, or you can also call it suprapleural membrane. It attaches to the medial border of the first rib. And also, on this part that is close to the lateral border of the first rib, serratus anterior takes its origin. And then along with the costal cartilage, this bone does not have the costal cartilage, but along with the costal cartilage, close to the medial border, you find costoclavicular ligament attaching. And then close to the lateral border, you will find subclavius muscle taking its origin to be inserted into the subclavian groove of the clavicle. Okay guys, in anatomical position, the first rib is placed in such a way that the posterior end is posterior, the anterior end is anterior, and the posterior end is a bit higher than the posterior end, thus causing the rib to lie in an oblique manner, as you can see here. This is like if I keep it straight, so it's oblique like this. So that is how the first rib would be, and other ribs would be in anatomical position. So that is all for the first rib. If there are any additions to the ribs, I will talk about them in my next video on the ribs. Thank you. And if you are yet to subscribe, do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you. And also click the notification button to be notified when I make new videos. Thank you.